I've also said that if I did not work at it 12 months a year, all I would have is like band kids and math nerds on my track team. I love band kids and math nerds, but they don't run the 4x1 very well. And so it's really important as a track coach to win the hearts and souls of athletes, attract athletes to your program, and then build better athletes. Football coaches have ignored that because football has been the be all end all America's sport. Jim Harbaugh called it the last bastion of masculinity in today's world. Some coach from North Carolina said that if we ever did away with football, we'd no longer win wars. We're turning boys into men. It's almost like a religious, patriotic, traditional. It's crazy. So football coaches used to say, "To hell with anybody that doesn't want to come out for football. We don't want those guys. They probably weren't any good anyway." And times have changed. We have a school of 2,500 kids real close to us that couldn't field a freshman team this year. 2,500 kids in the school and they couldn't field a freshman team because no one wants to play football. And one of the reasons, we'll go back to the summer thing, and that is if your summer program is 25 contact days like it is in Illinois, and you're bringing kids in at 7 in the morning and releasing them at noon, you will not have every good athlete in your school out for football. In matter of fact, that great point guard that would be your best defensive back will walk by your practices and say, "Thank God Almighty, I'm not playing football." And that's the case in the modern world where all of a sudden football coaches are in this battle for athletes and convincing athletes. And if you do things terribly wrong all summer, chasing toughness, fatigue seeking, we're going to break you down and then build you back up stronger. If you're doing all that crap because it's the echoes of Vince Lombardi, you probably, unless you have incredible tradition at your school, you probably are not getting many kids out for football, and you're going to get your ass beat.
Tony, I wanted to ask a question that I think will take the conversation in an interesting direction and just show, even with all of your years of experience, how you've continued to develop. Is there anything that even just between last summer and this summer you're thinking about differently in terms of your training or changing, or do you feel like at this point your formulas you're pretty dialed in and there's not much changing with what you're doing?
I think the formula has stayed the same. Um, the things that I see, like in my track program, and I'd be the same way if I was football. Once you're going down the right path, and you're feeding the cats, you're recreating athletes, you're attracting athletes, you are specific with your coaching, your general in the weight room, and your extreme and speed training. Once you have those things, it's really a matter of doing those things better. And as a coach, I think we can always do things better. And it's really no different than performing as an athlete. The things that I personally have to work on are things like fitness. I'm 65, so being fit and trying to get to sleep before 10 o'clock at night, and after a lifetime of staying up as late as I could, just being the best version of myself every day, so that I can perform as a coach, and then to lock in on what we're doing and do it better. And one of the things that personally that I've really worked on in the last couple years is to become somebody that wanted to come early and stay late, which used to be like all coaches would preach that and everything. But I got to the point where, yeah, I wasn't doing that. And so what I try to do now is come early enough to make as many one-on-one contacts with kids as I can. And then afterwards to stick around and once again, one-on-one contacts, talk, ask a kid how something's going and then say, "Tell me more." I love those 3 words, "Tell me more." And I think that developing those personal relationships with athletes is just win-win.
Yeah, I love that. So still coming early and staying late, but maybe being more intentional about what you're doing with that time and why you're doing it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. We're getting some good questions coming in here to the chat, Tony. So we'll start to run through some of these, and some of these might take us in an interesting direction. We'll try to get to as many of them as possible. This first one is a pretty specific question. I'm not sure who it was, but they asked, how would you train an athlete for the 800-meter race?
Well, that having nothing to do with football, basically, I will answer that very short and succinctly, because we may win the 4x8 at the state meet. We're ranked number 2 in the state. 700 schools. We're the second best school in the state of Illinois in the 4x8. And what I have found over my 43 years of coaching track is that the best 800 runners are cross-country runners who run the 4x4 during the track season. So I believe Clyde Hart said that the 400 was a hybrid race, and he was dead wrong. The 400 is a sprint. It's not a hybrid, even at the high school level. The 800 is a hybrid. So if somebody wants to be good at the 800, you need to train half the year for endurance, like a 3-mile race, and then the other half train as a fast 4x4 guy. And when you do that, you develop those hybrid qualities to make you good at the 800. All the football coaches are signing off right now, but yeah, if you're a football coach and you think that cross country type workouts are good for football, they're not. Okay, if you want to be good in the 4x8, that's okay, but not in football.
Hey, attendance has stayed stable since you started answering that question, and I think the people love you for the pros. Okay.